Describing Minecraft as anything but massively influential would be a massive understatement. For well over a decade now, this block-filled sandbox game has entertained and changed the lives of the hundreds of millions of people that have been blown up by a creeper since its initial release in November of 2011. That influence didn't just stop at being the best-selling video game of all time either. It's also debatably the most popular speed game of all time as well, with well over 10,000 total players, only behind Super Mario 64 when it comes to runs submitted. But let me tell you one thing. Minecraft speedrunning is insanely difficult. At its surface, Minecraft is a simple sandbox game with cute animals, cool building blocks, and a hint of danger. But underneath, it's one of the most complicated video games of all time. Welcome to Speedrunning Simplified, the show where I, a complete novice, learn to speedrun various games, so you don't have to, with the goal of showing a more casual audience, and myself, that speedrunning doesn't have to be intimidating, and that anybody can learn if they want to. I learned how to speedrun Minecraft in its most popular category, Random Seed Glitchless, in version 1.16+. It may just be one of the hardest things I've ever tried to do. Simplifying Minecraft speedrunning seemed to be an impossible task, but I tried my best to learn regardless. This is how Minecraft speedrunning is done, and how it broke me. I hope you enjoy. As usual, speedrun.com is the best place to start when you want to learn how to speedrun a new game. And with just how much goes into speedrunning Minecraft, you're gonna need all the help you can get. The first thing I recommend you do is open K4's Minecraft Speedrunning Setup Guide. This will hook you up with the client and all of the mods, practice maps, and settings you'll want to play with for speedrunning Minecraft. This, alongside any of the other resources I use during this video, can be found below in the description. The goal for this channel is to break down speedruns in a manner that is simple and easy to understand for newcomers wanting to learn. But let me tell you, Minecraft is not a simple game underneath its simple surface. One of the things that makes Minecraft so great is there is no right or wrong way to play, and the same goes for speedruns of the game as well, for the most part. The goal is just to reach the end and beat the Ender Dragon as fast as possible. Being a sandbox game, there are countless ways to accomplish that goal. However, there are strategies people use that are better than others. Let me break beating Minecraft down into 3 simple steps. Step 1. Iron, a food source, and entering the Nether. Step 2. Blaze rods and ender pearls. Step 3. Finding the stronghold and defeating the Ender Dragon. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, first of all, you need an iron pickaxe to mine gold, and you need a bucket and flint and steel to create and light a nether portal. And naturally, you need a source of food to stay alive. In the nether, you need to locate a nether fortress, and you need blaze rods to locate the end and activate the ender portal, alongside ender pearls, which can be easily obtained by trading gold with piglins. From here, you locate the stronghold and make a bunch of beds with string you collected from the piglin trades, or from raiding a village earlier on. And you use a trick called the one cycle to kill the dragon without needing to destroy the end crystals. However, this game is far more complicated than just that. Everything about this game is completely random, meaning your actions can't be simplified down to doing the same thing every single time like most games. You need to be able to think on your feet. So let's take a look at the 3 steps individually and check out a few of the various strategies speedrunners use to accomplish those goals. As soon as you spawn, you take a look around as fast as possible, checking out the seed that you just dropped in. If you don't see anything in your immediate area, it's probably best to reset. A common strategy seen in even the world record is village strats. Spawning next to a village is fantastic. You can get an easy source of food and bread, thanks to the hay bales, and 3 to 5 iron from killing the village's golem, giving you on average enough for a bucket and flint and steel, giving you entry to the nether extremely quickly. But you'll need to find more iron for your pickaxe. A beginner-friendly strategy takes care of that for you, however, called cod strats. This involves you trading some of the hay with a farmer for 3 emeralds, then trading those emeralds with a fisherman for a bucket of cod. This allows you to use the golem's iron for a pickaxe, now only needing to locate a lava pool to use your bucket of water to enter the nether. To create a nether portal normally, you would need to use a diamond pickaxe to mine a minimum of 10 obsidian, and build it manually. But that's obviously really slow. So instead, by using some building blocks, a lava pool, and a bucket of water, you can create a nether portal without a diamond pickaxe. By placing a block down in the lava and using your water bucket on the source block next to it, it will create 2 pieces of obsidian in the adjacent squares. Now by removing your block you just placed, it will mirror what you just did on the other side, creating the portal's base. If this lake is only 1 block deep, then you will need to mine the floor of the portal's base and fill those squares with lava sources. You can now pick your water back up and build a stack of 3 blocks on the opposite side of one of your portal's edge blocks, and then 1 directly above it on the highest block in that stack, and then 2 blocks on the opposite side, like so. Now you can place your water on the edge of the stack of blocks you just made, creating a mini waterfall flowing into the portal's base. This water will then come in contact with every lava source block you place, turning them into obsidian and finishing the portal's frame. You can make these portals in a lot of different ways. This is just the most common way. However, another frequently used method is called the magma portal. This is done at the bottom of a magma ravine in the ocean. You want to look for a set of 3 magma blocks that somewhat make an L shape. By mining one of the single blocks and placing a door down in its place, you can stand in the air pocket so you don't drown. Now you place a block directly across from you on the other side of the magma block and a door on the block next to it, with 1 more block directly on top of the magma block in front of you. Now you mine that magma block out and use 2 of the lava source blocks directly beneath the magma blocks in front of you, creating the first corner of the portal. Now you take the lava from behind where those 2 source blocks were just taken from, not from the sides or below, as you need those to remain where they are. Mirroring what you just did, finishing the other top side of the portal. You now place your 3rd door down to the right or left of you, depending on where the 3rd and final magma block is, and then mine the block you placed in front of you, and then mine the final magma block. Mining the 2 pieces of cobblestone that appear afterwards, and removing the water source at the top of the portal, finishing your magma portal's frame. This specific kind of portal is often used in a different strategy to village strats, and that would be ocean strats. If you spawn out in the middle of the ocean, it might seem like a good place to reset, but it might be a really good starting location. Looting shipwrecks can be really good, getting a ton of iron, possibly some food, and even a buried treasure map. Locating buried treasure comes with a ton of useful resources if you can find it. On top of all of that, you can find magma ravines pretty commonly, easily spotting them with areas that have a bunch of kelp floating on the surface. And look at that, you just entered the nether really quickly. The final pre-nether strategy I'm going to talk about is pretty basic Minecraft. It's cave strats. It's pretty self-explanatory. You mine iron, you smelt iron, you have bucket and pickaxe. It's obviously much slower than the other 2, but it can be pretty useful if you spot a nearby structure that you could use, but need iron beforehand, and don't see any nearby villages or shipwrecks. A specific one that comes to mind is an ocean monument. I'm getting a little bit out of order here, but for pretty good reason. A really good beginner strategy is raiding an ocean monument for its gold blocks. This lessens the RNG required to complete a run by a large amount, and is something I found a lot of success with. If you spawn near an ocean monument, but can't find any iron in shipwrecks nearby, it's not a bad idea to implement cave strats for the iron you need. Going into the ocean, you'd also have 3 doors on you, since you're likely to have to make a magma portal to reach the nether. By lowering your render distance to 2, and approaching an ocean monument from the backside, you can dig in 4 specific spots seen here, one of which is guaranteed to reveal the gold block enclosure. If you go quick enough, it is very likely the Elder Guardians will never inflict you with mining fatigue, as if they are outside of your render distance, they're not loaded in. This gives you 8 gold blocks, which on average should be enough, unless you're unlucky, to get all of the ender pearls you will need from piglin barters. And that brings us to the nether. 99.999999 infinitely repeating % of your runs will die in the nether. That's just how it's gonna go. The nether is broken into quadrants based on your X and Z position. 2 structures cannot spawn in the same quadrant within a 432 by 432 block radius. Therefore, if you find a bastion in one quadrant, you should head to a different one to find a fortress. Every structure you find in the nether has a 60% chance to be a bastion and 40% chance to be a nether fortress. Finding 2 close together is a massive point of reset, since it's not very likely, which is why I found raiding an ocean monument to be a good idea when available. If you did not get your gold from an ocean monument, you're gonna be doing what's called bastion strats, We need to locate a bastion, mine the gold blocks within, and trade with the piglins until we have enough ender pearls, string if needed, and preferably obsidian as well, to make a new nether portal to leave when we're done. Bastions also have chests that can contain gold, obsidian, and iron if you need a pickaxe at this point. There are 4 different types of bastion, none of which can spawn in the basalt delta biome. All 4 of which are unique in design and have their gold blocks located at different parts of the structure. The bridge bastion has a large bridge, obviously, that contains a chalice of 16 gold blocks. There are other places inside each bastion that can contain more gold blocks, but I'm only going to highlight where speedrunners tend to get the gold from the easiest. Housing units are made up of 2 large ramparts, arranged around a central courtyard with nether wart at the bottom. There are 9 gold blocks 100% of the time located at the bottom right part of the bastion. Hoglin stables consist of 3 ramparts. They look similar to housing, except it's a bit wider, and typically loaded with hoglins throughout the bottom. Stables tend to be the worst bastion you can find. The gold blocks you want are located either on the left or the right side of the bastion, but it isn't guaranteed like the others. A good gap contains gold, and a bad gap contains only a chest, and it's possible for both sides to be bad gaps. If this wall on the right side has a cracked block, it's a bad gap, but if it doesn't, then you can mine to the right and head down, finding 3 gold blocks in the wall, and then another 6 in the floor of the room. To check the other side, you go up the stairs and break this block in the wall. If there's a way through, it's a good gap. If it's blocked off, it's a bad gap. The other side is pretty much the same as the right side, heading down the stairs for the 9 gold blocks at the bottom. And last, but certainly not least, we have the treasure room. It is made up of 1 large rampart with 2 identical sides, and a bridge connecting to the massive treasure room. This treasure room is built over a floor of lava, with many bridges leading to the bottom. This has a large amount of gold blocks down there, but it's a death trap. You'll want to get your gold from the rampart and bridge instead. At the bottom of a treasure room bastion, there is a magma cube spawner as well. This can be very bad, and I'll explain why later. There are 2 gold blocks on the bridge and up to 6 blocks of gold at the top side of each of the ramparts. It's a good idea to do your piglin trading before a nether fortress, as the piglins can give you fire resistance, making fighting the blazes a lot easier. A good method to finding a bastion is a trick called microlensing. With your entity distance set to 500%, you can look at the top left of your debug menu for the letter E. This is your entity counter. The first number represents how many entities are currently within your field of view, and the second number represents how many entities are loaded into the game. By lowering your field of view to the lowest setting of 30, you can slowly scan around you. If you can see an abnormal amount of entities within your small viewing space, there is probably a bastion in that direction. To aid in this, you can check your M and C numbers towards the bottom of the debug menu as well. M stands for the total non-permanent hostile mobs in the current loaded chunks, and C stands for creatures, such as striders. By adding these 2 numbers together and checking the difference with the total number of entities currently loaded in, you can see if there could be a bastion nearby. There are around 30 piglins in each bastion, and they are permanent hostile mobs, so they won't be included in the M number. So if M and C equal 100, and there are 130 entities currently loaded in, there is definitely a bastion within your render distance. But this is only half of the nether. We have yet to conquer the nether fortress. As a beginner, you need about 7 to 8 blaze rods to turn into blaze powder and make your Eyes of Ender, used for locating the stronghold and then activating the portal. You need at most 12 Eyes of Ender to activate the portal, and every slot has a 10% chance of being pre-filled for you, coming to a whopping 1 in 1 trillion chance for every eye to come pre-filled. On average, 1 of these slots will be filled, but every time you throw an eye to locate the stronghold, you've got a 20% chance that it shatters, so it's best to get extra. To get the blaze rods, you need to enter a nether fortress, finding a blaze spawner within and killing them for a 50-50 rod drop rate. If you don't see a nether fortress right away, there's a pretty useful trick that can find a fortress as soon as you enter the nether that works most of the time, involving the other half of the debug menu, the pie chart. Pie chart meets X-ray. You can use it like X-ray vision, locating the nearest mob spawner, which most of the time means a nether fortress. Remember when I said the magma cube spawner in a treasure bastion can be really bad? This is why. That's because that is the only other mob spawner, other than a blaze spawner, that you can find in the nether. It's possible that the pie chart detects there is a mob spawner nearby, making you think it's a fortress. leading you to a bastion instead. By telling the pie chart tick, level, entities, and block entities, it will actively search for block entities, which includes mob spawners. By turning your render distance all the way down, you can slowly increase it until the pie chart locates a mob spawner within your render distance. You can then reset your render distance and raise it back up to just one below the distance the mob spawner was located in. Then, by turning on chunk borders with F3 plus G, you can walk in and out of each of the 4 surrounding chunks. Once the mob spawner shows up on the pie chart again, you know that's the direction the mob spawner is in, and how many chunks away it is. Now, with blaze rods and ender pearls in hand, it's time to find the stronghold. Before I can explain the different ways speedrunners locate the stronghold, you first need to understand how strongholds are generated. Strongholds spawn in rings. There are actually 128 strongholds in a Minecraft seed. Pretty much all speedruns will end up going to a first ring stronghold. The first ring has 3 strongholds, and the first ring is located within 1280 blocks and 2816 blocks from 00 coordinates. There are 2 primary methods for locating the stronghold, which I'll refer to as travel from here on out. Blind travel is where speedrunners build a new nether portal to leave the nether, instead of returning to their old one. They make this new portal at a set of coordinates most likely to put them near the stronghold. A good rule of thumb is to try to get to a spot in the nether that adds up to around 230 to 270, such as X185 and Z65. Equaling 250. This is a good sweet spot to build a nether portal, as it will put the player at 8 times that in the overworld, as you travel 8 times faster in the nether. Between 230 and 270 would put the player somewhere in the center of where the stronghold could be located. This is much faster, but you will need to have gotten enough obsidian from piglin barters and chests. An alternative to this would be educated travel. Educated travel is essentially the same thing. However, the player first returns to their original nether portal and makes a trip to the overworld. Here they throw an Eye of Ender and remember the angle at which it was headed. Then, by heading in that direction in the nether, building a new portal once they reach where they think the stronghold could be, traveling 8 times faster than in the overworld. A slower but safer strategy for beginners would be the traditional method. Just returning to the player's original portal, throwing an eye, and heading around 1200 blocks in that direction. And once you think you're close, you can use a technique called triangulation. To triangulate the distance away from the nearest stronghold, you throw an Eye of Ender as normal and take note of the angle it was headed in by placing your crosshair over top of it. From here, you turn 90 degrees and sprint jump 4 times, or roughly 17.5 blocks, then throwing a second eye. By getting the new angle and doing some quick math to get the difference in the two, you can divide 1000 by the difference in the angles. This will roughly give you how many blocks away the stronghold is. Once you think you've found the chunk the stronghold is in, you can look at your chunk coordinates in the debug menu, finding 4x and 4z. Digging down here will put you directly in the starter staircase. The starter staircase is very important, as finding the portal room is much easier starting from the beginning. If you find your way into the stronghold through other means, the easiest way to find the starter staircase is to travel through backwards doors. These doors will eventually lead you to the beginning of the stronghold. There is more than a 90% chance that the portal room is located within 10 rooms of the starter staircase, and it is not possible for it to be closer than 6 rooms away. Sometimes there can be hidden rooms in strongholds that end up leading to the portal room, so be sure to check walls like these in 5-way rooms. Once you find the portal room, you load up your Eyes of Ender and enter the end, with one goal left: to defeat the Ender Dragon. You can go about defeating the Ender Dragon with a bow and arrow if you'd like, shooting the crystals and then the dragon. But as you can imagine, speedrunners have come up with better ways. That better way is with beds. By attempting to sleep in a bed in the end, or in the nether, the bed will explode. Intentional game design. This deals a massive amount of damage in the surrounding area, but the player can avoid it with some well-placed blocks. Defeating the dragon with beds is known as the one cycle. Detonating your beds when the dragon's head is directly above the pillow does the most damage. The Ender Dragon's hitboxes are pretty misleading, so turning on hitboxes with F3 plus B can help a lot. If you go too slowly, the dragon will get too close to the ground, breaking your beds, and you'll fail the one cycle. It can be done in as little as 4 beds, but you can do it with upwards of 9 if necessary. Before we can attempt a one cycle, however, we need the dragon to perch on the fountain in the center. The further away from the end fountain you are, the more likely the dragon is to perch, and the closer you are, the more likely it is to fireball you. The optimal place to wait is somewhere in between the two places. When the players enter the end, you will always be on the west side of the fountain. This is important to know, as the optimal place to wait is either on the north or south side. Once you've defeated the Ender Dragon, that's your Minecraft speedrun complete. However, despite having played Minecraft for over a decade, I had an unbelievably hard time with speedrunning Minecraft. So let's see how I did. Over the course of a few days, I practiced the various techniques and did Minecraft speedrun attempts for nearly 40 hours of active playtime total. I ran through nearly 200 seeds, and I only reached the end 6 times. I don't even know what to say here. I don't know how to put my journey into words other than I died, I fucking died a lot, over and over again. Minecraft speedrunning absolutely broke me and pushed me to my limit. My very first day of attempts surprised me. I got pretty lucky, with Seed 6 being my first taste of actual progression. I spawned in and spotted a desert temple with a desert village nearby. I went around collecting beds and food, implementing COD strats to get my bucket, and getting the remaining iron in the desert temple. I played slow and made a lot of mistakes, but I entered the Nether for the first time in just under 15 minutes. I stumbled around the Nether for a little while, and just as I was about to reset, I found a treasure bastion. This was the exact bastion that I practiced the most. I knew exactly how to tackle it. It went pretty sloppy, but in about 5 minutes, I managed to get all of my trades and leave the bastion. And just a couple of minutes later, I found another fortress. But unfortunately, I was still really bad with my movement in combat since I just started learning, and I died while trying to get my blaze rods. I got really lucky on this run, and it happened so early in, giving me really high hopes going forward. I wouldn't have another shot at leaving the Nether until nearly 40 seeds later, on Seed 45. Once again, I start with a village. This one, however, had a blacksmith, giving me an iron pickaxe and a shovel, allowing me to skip COD strats and make a bucket from the golem's iron. It took me a while to find lava, unfortunately, having to dig down, finding a pool and entering the Nether at the 10-minute mark. Not too much time passed, and I found a housing bastion. I play this really poorly, and somehow end up trading with only a single piglin, and I didn't leave for almost 15 minutes after finding it. It takes quite a long time, but I managed to find a nether fortress, and I used a cool block clutch setup I saw in a video to ender pearl on over. I get all of my blaze rods without dying for once, and I YOLO travel right where I'm standing. For the first time, I had successfully entered the nether, got my ender pearls and my blaze rods, and left safely in just over 40 minutes. I was unfortunately, however, quite far away from the stronghold, taking about another 14 minutes to find it. I enter the end for the very first time and mess up the one cycle, dying to the Ender Dragon. This felt pretty miserable. At this point, I had recognized just how difficult it was for everything to align the way you need it to go, only to lose right at the end because I couldn't kill the stupid dragon. I went and practiced one cycling and got it on the first try several times in a row. I thought I choked, but at this point I didn't realize there were certain ways to make the dragon perch, standing in the certain locations that I mentioned earlier, and the way I did it made my beds do less damage. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize this for a long time. Only 6 seeds later, on Seed 51, I made it out of the Nether again, considerably better than last time at the 33-minute mark. But I didn't have any ender pearls and couldn't reach the fountain in time, and never even got to attempt the one cycle. It was really defeating, because every time I finally would make it back to the end, I would die in some stupid way, without even getting to attempt the one cycle. It was at this point that I realized I do not enjoy Minecraft speedrunning. There is way too much RNG involved, and I was just doing the same thing over and over again. Getting wood, getting iron, entering the nether, inevitably resetting. It wasn't something I found enjoyable in the slightest. I did not want to play this game, but I wanted to give this absolutely everything I had. I practiced the hell out of one cycling. I learned using the keybind for pick block was really helpful in placing beds down fast enough, and in practice, it helped me a lot with doing the one cycle. Pick block, for those unaware, is a keybind that when used on a block, will put that block in your hands if you have it. So by placing down a bed, picking block and then exploding, you'll already have your next bed in your hands ready to go, and simply repeat from there. Learning pick block was my downfall. Seed 140. I'm on the run of my lifetime. Around this time, I started implementing ocean strats a lot more, and in this run, I raided an ocean monument for its gold. I entered the Nether in just over 13 minutes, with all the gold I needed. I just needed to find a Nether fortress. And I did! I had everything I needed, and blind traveled out of the Nether at the 27-minute mark. The fastest I had ever done it up to this point. This was only the 5th time in 140 seeds that I had managed to make it out of the Nether with everything I needed. And blind travel put me right next to the stronghold, digging down only 4 minutes later. It took me a while to find the portal room, but I was in the end in under 40 minutes, something I never thought I'd be able to do myself. I spotted the perch and ender pearled to the fountain, repeating one thing to myself. Oh, I'm so nervous. Take your time, pick block. Take your time and pick block. The first bed is a solid hit. The second bed is a great hit. 3 beds, and the Ender Dragon is at half health. I'm doing it right for the first time ever. Pick block. I had crying obsidian in my inventory, and I accidentally picked obsidian, blocking the bedrock pillar where the beds are placed. No! No way! No! No way, man! There's no way! I can't believe it! It's always something. No, you can't be serious. I was gonna do it. I was doing well. I pick blocked obsidian. Had I not done this, I would have definitely finished this run in just under 41 minutes, and I would have been so content with this time. I was at my breaking point. I didn't want to ever look at a Minecraft speedrun again. I was really struggling here. I wanted to get a good run to give this video a great ending, but it was making me miserable. This channel was created because I love watching speedrunning, and I wanted to learn how to speedrun a bunch of different games and see what they're like. I learned how to speedrun Minecraft. There's no doubt about it. I think they are incredible to watch, and what some people have accomplished is without a doubt incredible, but they are just not for me. I was beginning to see nether fortresses and bastions in my sleep, and I knew it was time to stop. I sat on it for a couple of days, and I did try one more time. I made it to the end for a 6th and final time, and I ran out of food, slowly dying before even getting to attempt the 1 cycle. I'm confident I could beat a Minecraft speedrun if I used a bow and beat the Ender Dragon the traditional way. Actually, I'm confident if I kept trying, I would be able to beat a Minecraft speedrun. I just don't want to. I know I would have finished that run if it weren't for pick block messing me up. And you know what? I'm at peace with that. I know I gave it my all and I'm glad I tried. So here's the point in the video where I give my thoughts on what I just did. But I think you've got a pretty good idea on what those thoughts are. Would I recommend Minecraft speedrunning to a new speedrunner? Surprisingly, I might. But you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. This game is RNG hell. You will spend 99% of your time doing the exact same thing over and over until you get a good nether. And if that doesn't bother you, and you like Minecraft, you'll probably really like this. While I struggled on the Ender Dragon, that's not why I couldn't take anymore. If I made it to the end every single time, it wouldn't be a big deal. But getting there is such a rare event for a newbie like me that it felt like I was just doing the same thing over and over again, and I was not having fun with that. I love Minecraft casually, but speedrunning, I'll just keep watching it from the sidelines. I'm sorry this video didn't have a great ending, but I just wasn't having fun anymore, and I'd rather learn how to speedrun something new and move on. Regardless, I really hope you enjoyed watching me learn how to speedrun Minecraft, and if you're a casual speedrunning fan, I hope I made it enjoyable to watch and easy to understand. The game is pretty complicated. If I did, it would mean a lot to me if you left a like on the video, if you enjoyed of course, and subscribe to the channel so you can join me on my next speedrunning adventure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you at the finish line of my next world record. Where did my shit go? Wait, what? What happened? Did you see that? The game ate my fucking composter.
It's in your inventory.
Wait, what, dude? My game lagged. That's so cringe. Here. Isn't that supposed to make some motherfucker trade with me? Oh, here's a farmer. Wait, I don't even need to do that. I've got the emeralds. There we go, fisherman. There we go. Wait, I already have a bucket! No, I'm so bad, dude.
Yeah, you're supposed to craft a pickaxe